an interview does is put the onus on her, not just for the mastery of issues and kind of command of issues, but to lay out a vision. That is something that Kamala Harris has been fairly uncomfortable with. Speaking as someone who has interviewed her, that's not necessarily her where she likes to be. She often says, I'm not someone who's good at speeches. I'm someone who gets things done. Now, we know as president, that's a big core part of the job is to lay out that kind of vision.
Obviously, in a two-person, when you have a two-person interview,
okay,
you know, and you have a limited.
So part of the discussion is she's doing her first interview today. By the time this is on YouTube, it probably already aired, and it's a joint interview with Tim Walz and with Vice President Kamala Harris, obviously the nominee for president. He said he's interviewed Vice President Kamala Harris. As someone who's also interviewed Vice President Kamala Harris twice and spoke to her as recently as February, I call bullshit on this respectfully. What I've been getting really outraged by is the standard for other people. They are different for Trump. Trump does not sit down with mainstream traditional outlets.
Right.
He sits down with people who makes him feel warm and fuzzy inside. I can't think of the last time he did an interview with CNN, and I'm not talking about the debate. CNN, ABC, CBS.
Yeah.
Trump is the one who sits down with influencers and podcasters. He does it every single week. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to do that. But I'm really exhausted with a different standard for everybody else.
Yeah.
And if he's not doing that, and mind you, she's doing an interview with CNN, Dana Bash. A lot of folks didn't like that. But the idea that Democrats or Joe Biden or the Democratic Party at large is not transparent with the press is a Jim Crow lie. After Biden's debate performance, she was on every network, Vice President Kamala Harris.
That's true.
She was in an interview with CNN with Anderson Cooper. Now, has she done a sit down since she's been the nominee? No, she hasn't. But when is the last time Trump has done a sit down with a traditional, and I don't count Fox News.
No, exactly.
And at the end of the day, this election cycle, she will still do more mainstream traditional press than he will.
Yeah.
You should be on his ass every single day that he has not sat down with CNN, ABC, or NBC News anytime recently. Go ahead, Reese.
Yeah, I think this is very much a mainstream media driven conversation, an inside the beltway type of conversation. I don't think people generally care or even differentiate much between her sitting with mainstream media versus her talking to influencers and content creators. A lot of people get their news from TikTok. A lot of people get their news from Facebook. A lot of people get their news from social media. And so I think that it's smart, and what I've actually been saying for a very long time is build your own information infrastructure so that you're not reliant on the mainstream media that is not as incentivized or interested in getting out your message and educating people about what your policies are, about making the contrast between your policies and your opponent's policies. They're more interested in the horse race coverage and talking to the fake undecided voters and all the other bullshit, the punditry behind it. So I think that it's wise to kind of take matters into your own hand. With that being said, I don't really have a problem with what he's saying, in theory, because in theory, is it worthwhile to go talk to the mainstream media? Yeah, in theory it is. Is that a way to get your message out even more? Is it a way for you to sit down and articulate in a one-on-one basis that's not scripted, that is not generic, and really lay out what your priorities are? In theory, yes, unless they do what they normally do, which is sit up there and ask you, frame every question negatively, frame every question from how the Republicans are talking about you, frame every question about in a punditry type of manner, as opposed to a let's educate people about what you stand for. So in theory, if the media actually rose to the occasion of what the moment requires and actually conducted themselves in a way that was about educating and informing people and bringing clarity. We talked about this the other day, as opposed to furthering, perpetuating narratives that are largely driven by Republicans and naysayers, then I would take it a little bit more seriously. But we know that's not how they operate. And so I don't begrudge her for practicing some defense and offense and shielding herself from things that are not going to be serious, things that are going to be unserious and things that are going to be unhelpful to her. I don't blame her for that. But I don't necessarily, I understand why they're going to bitch and moan and complain or whatever. I understand that too. So she'll figure out some sort of balance, or she'll just tell them, go to hell, kiss my ass, and she'll keep doing what she's doing. I don't know. But at the end of the day, she's winning. So it's kind of hard to say that your strategy is wrong and, well, you need to pivot and you need to do this when you raise $540 million, your poll numbers is going up, you're gaining ground, you've erased the deficits that President Biden had, according to the polls. You have, I mean, I've been seeing numbers, 175% more young Black women are registered. The registrations across the country are through the roof. Volunteers are through the roof. So when you're winning a campaign, people complain about, oh, you ain't got this on the website, you ain't talked to this person. It's kind of like, go to hell, because we're winning. But on the other hand, you could also leave no stone unturned. So they're not leaving no stone unturned. They're saying, we're gonna let y'all, we're gonna keep y'all on ice right here, and then we'll do the interview. If it goes well, cool, we answer the mail. If it goes wrong, then it'll be like, see, that's why we weren't fucking with y'all, and everybody will be on y'all asses. But I really think this is more about them striving for relevancy. And maybe, just maybe, have Democrats figured out that the mainstream media are no longer the gatekeepers of information? They're no longer the people that move the needle the most, as opposed to the people who have credibility with their audiences. And sometimes those are journalists, sometimes they're not, sometimes they are content creators, sometimes they're radio show hosts. Have they figured that out? Maybe. If they have, then that's better, because guess what? That means you're going to get your message across, and we won't have to sit up there and complain about the fact that your messaging sucks. So it is what it is. I hope that her interview goes well. I hope that Dana is serious and she doesn't ask stupid ass fucking questions about, well, when did you turn Black? Or stupid shit like that. What the polls are saying. Or, well, when did you know that Joe Biden, whatever the fuck. If she does that, then it'll be a prime example of why nobody takes y'all seriously.
I will also say that I think what bothers me is that they've even stopped demanding that Trump do traditional mainstream media because they know that he won't.
Yeah.
There has been a lack of demands of Trump because they know that he won't do certain things. So they have a different standard for other people because they know that they will, that they will listen to the people. They will listen to a demand. But I still say CNN should have a ticker. Day 120 since he sat down for a CNN interview. They should all have a ticker, how long it's been. And I was trying to look it up. I couldn't even find it. When is the last time Trump sat down with CBS, with ABC?
Yeah, with I generally don't know.